again to celebrating Halcyon at 50 through the eyes of the captain. We have with us this afternoon Mr. Penrod Kirby with us.
Afternoon.
I'm absolutely delighted to have you with us.
And I'm also happy to be here too.
Okay. So, Mr. Kirby, how old were you when this thing called Halcyon came to be? After asking that, how old were you when this thing, beast, the early days of Halcyon came to be?
I was around 25.
Oh, you're older, man.
Yeah.
I thought you were like a younger.
No.
All right. How did it start? That you can remember.
Well, Halcyon started with Mrs. Selvin Walters. It was really stemmed from Empire Football Club because, Empire won a lot of championship. And sure, he was coming in to the politics part of it. That's Mr. Walters.
Right.
He had, at the end of the year, like in the Christmas time, he used to have a party for the football club.
Right.
And so he said that he wanted to put a steel band in the Grace Green community. But that was somewhere around 1970. Coming now to...
So prior to that, there was no other steel band in the Grace Green
Well,
community?
there was a steel band in the Grace Green community. Two.
There were two?
There were one in Christian Street area by the name of Stardust.
Right.
Well, all the folks, they would know.
Right.
Stardust. And there was also one down in the Federation Road area, down by the, I don't know if you know the Mission Church around Grace Farm, right, in that area, named Duke of Vian.
Duke of Iron?
Vian. Duke of Vian.
Yes.
Right. So that was the two that I know about.
Why do you think that Mr. Walton didn't want, or Sir Selvin didn't want to just use one of those?
Well, those two bands was out long years. They did.
Oh, so they were not around?
They were not around. They were not around.
Right. So the intention was start a new one?
A new one, right.
So why he couldn't just borrow one from your neighbors across the sea? I'm just curious.
I decide. So it was 1971 now,
right,
after he won the election.
After he done spread the word and
Right. He started to get things together. He got in contact with us. It was me and my brother and others, because we always, friends, always together. And so he started getting drums and so on together. Superstars were building pan at the same time, So Donald Halstead, he was with Superstar at the time. They had two guys from Trinidad. There was that Michael Mount building the instrument, for they did come directly for Superstar. Right. But Mr. Walters and Mr. Halstead, they was in the same party. They were in the same party, right. And so Mr. Walter got to him, and so asked, right, to make the guys and them work between the two bands.
Right.
So that's where Halcyon started. But it weren't easy. After the pans finished, really, we didn't even have a handover thing. We had a pound, I don't know if you know, right where the court, the basketball thing, right there was a pound for animals. Right. But in that time, coming down into the 70s, it was
No longer in use.
no,
Right.
no animals were there.
Right.
It was empty. And so the pans finished. We didn't even know that the pans were finished. It's the other half of me now, my other brother. He was passing in the area and he happened to, curious, he went and looked in, peeped,
Right.
and saw that the instrument, they brought the instrument, because it was at Michael Mount, and
Right.
they put them.
So they built them and then brought them and left them
Right.
in their yard.
And we never had a handover, well, Mr. Waters was there and said, well, guys, here is it, so and so and so.
Right. So what, y'all saw them and y'all went?
Well, we didn't go to him. The
When I
pants.
say him, y'all went to the bands?
We went to the pants and we start getting things together.
So did you play before?
Well, yes, as I talked to you on Cannes,
Right.
I'm brute force. We joined, me and my brother, and it was 3 more guys from this area. We joined Brute Force 1967. It was close to the Panorama time.
Right.
And that was our first time playing.
Right.
But in that time, the music weren't as hard as now. So our first time, and we went right into it.
Okay.
We played for our first Panorama in Brute Force.
So you basically stayed with Brute Force until you came over to Halcyon.
Right. We stayed with Brute Force for what? 3 years.
Right. Until the 70s.
67, 68,
60.
68, we draw with Harmonize for championship.
Good band, good band, good band.
Right. And 69, something went, I don't remember, but
Right.
Brute Force fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the guy that was the leader, which is Denley, I show you here the name already. He starts another band in Faibu, the name was City Symphony.
Right.
That was 1970.
Okay.
So, me and my brother and the same other 3 guys we were with.
You went to City
Right.
Symphony. Okay. So Mr. Walter basically came for y'all from City Symphony and said,
Right.
y'all need to come home because I'm building a band. Something like that?
No, he never came to us and said that. Because all that time, the bands were just coming together. The process of building didn't start yet. Really, it's sometime maybe in the middle of 1971, the process of building bands started.
So we're told that, the date that is marked for Halcyon as their starting date is May 5th. 50
Well,
years
to
ago,
tell you the
Mr.
right,
Walter
to tell you the truth, we never had anything documented
Right.
with the start of Halcyon, because it was just the young guys who were there. There weren't any like somebody with, that type of knowledge, like, somebody with the real education and so on. So the proper documentary never took place
Right. So who,
at that early time.
So who then at that early time, by the time your brother came and told you, hands in the air, who then took the handle and said, we're going to do this?
Well, all of us went there because we were, in our young time, we did love the pan music.
And you were probably famous.
Right. There was an iron band in Green Bay, that's further down there. Right. So when the iron band come in town where, when they reach in Grace Farm, we will go and join.
You pick up the pan.
Not with pan. We
Or you would be playing steel
beating
and
the
soul.
steel
Okay,
and so
fair
on.
enough, fair enough, fair
So we had that musical thing in us from.
enough. So the tradition of Halcyon with the rhythm,
Right.
that pulsating rhythm came from you guys used to join up with.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from my mother, she explained that our father was the bugler in the Iron Band in that early years of the Iron Band. Right.
I know we're talking Halcyon history, but permit me, Grace rounds of applause at Comfort Books. Go ahead.
Right. So, well, when we got to the pans, you know, there was a lot of chamber in the building, the pound.
Right.
So we had was to do some demolishing and so on. We break down certain areas and we keep certain areas like this, where the section, the base and so supposed to go, we leave that area. And where we had the small pans, because they have some like a trough with the water. Right. So our tenor pans and double tenor and double second, and so we line them up in that. That was like, right, just like the side of the wall. And there we start practicing. Well, I was a little more brilliant than my brother. We never really learned any theory. Because you know, when you join a band first, they start a tune, and they show you, well, it's C, F, G, whatever.
And you memorize it.
And that's what we go, right. So there weren't no theory teaching.
Right.
We never got the proper teaching. It's just that, you know, some people take in what, and
you catch on quick.
right, and with perseverance.
So that means y'all used to have some long hours of practice.
Right.
Who the rain back then? Or you would just play preset pieces?
Well, I was the one that deal with the music.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. This is
so how
just like a gift.
To play?
Eh? Well, I was playing double second when I was in Brute Force.
With instruments?
My brother, he was playing double tenor. But after we got into Halcyon, I did prefer double tenor. So I went on double tenor too. He was playing double tenor, and we had two more guys. They was from further up, Grey Hill, so they were double tenor players too.
So that original band, Halcyon Steel Band, how many members you have?
Well, in our start, we had about 30 players.
30?
30.
But you weren't small, you were big?
Yeah, we were a good size because everybody here, they start coming. And so when we reach to the stage of playing out, that same 30 strong, we used to play with, right.
So you formed, so the band formed.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea came from Mr. Walter,
Right.
Mr. Selwyn. He ensured that the pans were prepared.
Right.
And then once those things were in place, you and the crew
We went in.
and did what you had to do.
Right, we started.
Okay. What did the band used to do in the early years? You had any clashes? I know when we hear our history here, we hear this and this clash, especially your side of the street and my side of the street. Did the steel bands clash, or you didn't have any of those kind of battles?
Well, we had one clash some year ago, because, you know, that time now your supporters, they with you. And we met your band, so it was a Christmas.
That would be Harmonize.
The Harmonize. So we met at least a tight spot coming down Market Street.
I knew it had to be Market Street. When we met at a tight spot, the two of y'all were supposed to be passing. If the two of y'all
No, but that time they didn't have the rules and regulations. So one going up, one coming down, and the trolley and them got squeezed, you know what I mean? And our guys, they start lifting up Charlie and pushing aside, you know, that thing.
Because y'all would have been the more rowdy ones, and my band would have been the more sophisticated.
Right. Yeah,
Really?
because they was in operation before us.
I know, but did they give you all the trouble?
Not directly.
So Halcyon getting away in the clash?
Well, as I'm
Don't say
saying,
yes, no, because you bang your
as I'm saying, you know, guys lift up Charlie and pushing aside and so on. So we got you and coming down Market Street.
But outside of that, it was no.
Yeah, no
And did the
funny.
bands get along in the early days?
Yeah.
So y'all will have a little ride with vehicle.
Right, yes, and you know, they hear little talk and so on, but no fighting business.
You had any females in your early band?
We had two.
You had two females, two women.
They were playing bass. In our time.
You remember the names?
Yeah. One of them is Bernadette. I don't remember her title. Serious. And another one was Carol.
So you had Bernadette and Carol.
Both of them, they were going PM school.
That's cool. Well, you had good things going on for you, man. So,
1971. That was the processing of pans and so on.
72.
Well, 1972 now, pans are ready, and we start getting the practice. We start practicing. When we were really featured, it was 1972, All Year's Day. It was a Sunday. Well, Mr. Walters come now and, you know, start getting things in the right way, how it should be. But he came when we start practicing. When we were ready.
So he gave you all some time to get ready. And when you look ready now, he says, let's show and tell.
So our first outing was an All Year's Day, which was Sunday.
Right.
He took us in Christian Street. Okay. Right. That actually, you know, in the middle of Christian Street, more up to Grey Hill side of there. And so we started there. We were a little shaky, you know what I mean, because that was our first outing.
But I'm sure the shakiness didn't last too long.
Plenty of the other guys never played no pan before, you know what I mean, and it was a kind of shaky thing. We made some little errors and so on.
But how was the general feedback from your community?
Well, it was good. It was good. Because
we know how they're particular.
Right. Yes. But this bringing of Halcyon into being now after we got the pan was real tough. Because I didn't have that standard. I was no professional player. I was no professional musician. Musical, you know what I mean? And it was sometimes like the head bursting because at times you don't even know how to fit the proper cards right.
So you were responsible
for that.
Getting the
music
and getting it executed.
Yeah.
You didn't seek any help from anybody else?
Nobody. We didn't see.
You didn't want to? Was it a pride thing? You didn't want to go ask the older bands for help? What was it?
Okay, we weren't really studying in that area, like to go to, you know what I mean? But normally, you know, we were sort of a looked down on by certain class of people because there was a lot of musicians. No, I can't say that because
we were on the other end, like the same.
Right.
Just making sure it was
yes.
We might have been a little ahead, but certainly not looked down.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
So nobody ever come around and say, well, right, you know, we have a lot of musicians, but plenty of them don't study the pan music.
Right.
Because plenty of people feel that because they know music. I check that the pan music, when it comes to arranging, is not any musician in Antigua can do that type of arranging.
Can arrange for the pan.
Right.
Right.
Okay? So we struggled there until we
But you eventually
move on
you got it.
and move on and move on.
So the struggle was for a good cause.
For a good cause.
Right.
Just as they say, blood, sweat, and tears.
Right.
Right? But then we get friend with a guy by the name of Mossy Joseph. Right? It was two brothers. One just play the organ in Anglican church.
Right.
The two of them were brothers, Joseph. But Mossy now, he used to play with, he do some playing with Oscar Mason, I think. He used to play the organ with Oscar Mason. So his brother now was working at Liat. And after we were in full swing and we got the sponsor from Liat, it was a double sponsor, Liat and Halcyon.
Oh, nice.
Cool, right? And so through he was with Liat, his like boss and so on, they talked with him, and so he come around and he gave us that. This was about 1973. He gave us a classic. I don't really remember it.
Okay. He gave that a classic to play.
Yeah,
So so who did the translation of that for the pan? You?
Well, at that time now, the guys have their understanding.
Much better.
Right. So he could have got to whatever section and who they call the notes and cards because they learned that.
Okay, fair enough. Good.
Right. So he could have put out that himself. Right. And from there we moved on. The other brother, he used to come around, where he was more in the calypso business. This is Mossy Joseph.
Right.
And he would give us some calypso and reggae and so on.
So you were building your repertoire.
Right.
Excellent.
But away from those two musicians, no other musicians ever really checked
So that
with
was
us.
Mossy Joseph
Right.
and his brother.
Right. Okay? But in our start, one of the first tune that we played was this. It was an American tune, Tiny Blue Transistor Radio.
Tiny Blue Transistor Radio. That's one of the first tunes.
That's right.
So that, I guess that's always in your
It's
head.
so my tiny blue transistor radio. Right, that was our first tune.
Yes, I got it. I remember that.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
Our second tune was Miss Mary by Sparrow.
Of course.
To see Miss Mary,
She began
to see Miss Mary, bum bum. Right. Miss Mary.
That's definitely Canary.
Yes,
See
yes,
that?
yeah.
Tiny Blue Transistor would have been interesting.
And so we progressed from there onwards. We didn't come to where we came, some third or something.
In Panorama?
No, we were right down at the bottom.
The Panorama?
Yeah, 1973.
But you were there.
But we were there.
All right. And it was a start.
Right, it was a start. 1974, they had, what do you call it, preliminaries.
Right.
Because 1974, they had a lot,
They had band,
right,
band and
a lot of
band
band, right.
So that preliminary.
So they had a preliminary. So we got knocked out,
Oh.
right.
Okay.
But the judge, she said we was a promising band, right, 1974.
So 1974 would be your promising year.
Right.
All right.
Okay, it was me and one of the guys, one of the pan builder. It was Bob Norman. Bob, he went back to Trinidad.
Your pan builders were coming.
Right, that's those same two builders that
Yes,
came
that came
and
to
was working with
Superstar.
Superstars.
They were
Right,
also working with you.
right. One of them stayed with us.
Okay, that's
Right,
good.
he didn't go back home.
Right.
He come and live in Grace Farm. So we had him, but he, you know, the Trinidadians, they have a little musical touch, not because they might be tuning pan.
Right.
They know, right.
Other things. And so he added value.
Right, and he does work with us, give us tune and so. 1974, he worked with us with the Calypso. Like 1974 was short shirt, oh my.
Nobody ever think too early.
Short shirt.
I don't know his lexical like that to say which song was this year, but we remember. So it was a short shirt tune and what?
A short shirt tune. Come on.
And how did you perform?
Well, just as I'm saying, we were knocked out of the
in 74 too?
74 too.
Okay.
We didn't come
Right.
through.
But you stuck it out.
Right.
So what was the band doing in between panoramas?
Well,
Practicing, playing out.
we were playing out.
Right.
Because after we were with Mr. Walters,
Right.
we got a job at the port.
At the port.
Right.
Okay.
Deepwater
Or
House.
when the cruise ships had
Right.
started to come in.
Right. And
So you left Grace Farm, come past me, and get a job on the port.
no, we didn't pass you. You were there too.
I'm teasing you.
But you were there too, but we used to
Everybody
share.
had a different day.
Right, a different day.
Because of course, Halcyon days,
Uh-huh.
how that works.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, good thing. So the band, so, even then in the 70s, 73, 74, 75, people were earning a living from playing out.
Not
Or was it
No,
that
no,
it was
no.
just a little thing?
at that time, you're playing for the love
playing for the
of
love
the
of it.
band.
So the monies would have been made.
Whatever little money,
Little money going to the
right,
bank.
going to the bank
Excellent.
to, purchase
So you
whatsoever.
were working otherwise
Right.
besides. So it was work,
Yeah.
steal back.
Mhm. But at the port now, we were making what? They make a price with us. They were paying us $1,500 a month at the port.
And how many days you would go?
We would go, it was what? Because boat was coming regular enough, so maybe it was actually like the whole week, or maybe 4 days out of the week.
That's a lot of days for $1,500.
Yeah, right,
I'm gonna have to check the value of that.
right. So that's just to show you
And that would be the full 30 side? Or
the
you
full
would take a
30
small
members.
size?
It would be a little smaller,
Okay.
and
So for you, what would be your most significant accomplishment leading Halcyon in those early years?
well, my most accomplishment is to see that I brought it from nothing to something, right? From nothing to something. I never win no panorama. Just as I'm telling you, I never had that musical standard theory-wise.
But you
And
had enough to keep them
to
together.
keep them together, right?
And to grow.
Right,
Because I suspect they grew on.
right. And when we finish play, mostly from the port,
Right,
it's from the port to back at the pan yard,
right.
and we had somewhere where we just hang out too. So all the players, from we finish playing, we go home, is together. We had a real good togetherness. So there weren't no
So
ism
there
and
was a
schism.
unity.
Unity.
In the band. So even though in terms of the being at the top of the pan pecking order, you weren't really,
Right.
but you had a brotherhood.
Right,
All right, good. That is important. That's
Right.
good. See, you set the right foundation.
right,
door.
right.
So now, how much longer did you stay with the band?
Well, I stayed up to 76. 76, I got an opportunity to go to Tatola. I had some friends that we used to work on the construction together. They went away for some years, and they got in touch with me.
Right.
They were working with a guy in Tatola, not Tatola itself, the little country Virgin Gorda.
Right.
And this guy had a little restaurant set up like a hotel like.
Right.
So he needed, you know, the pan music there.
So you went to play pan?
Yeah.
Oh.
So me and my brother and another friend of ours, right? He never played out when we were here.
Right.
Because he was in construction. He just play like on the road and panorama. So he weren't working at the time, so he decided, well, okay, he gonna come with us.
Okay.
So it was the three of us, me, my brother, and him.
So you
sold
went to Virgin Gorda to
Virgin
play
Gorda
pan.
for
And you made
this
a
guy.
living from it?
Yeah.
For how long?
Well, we played for about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And after now, this guy, he started getting jobs. Kind of when the tourists and them go in those countries, they want property. You know, some of them want to invest, right? Building a home there and
Yes.
so on. And so he got
Construction.
some contracts from someone, so he organized, you know what I mean,
So then
and
y'all progressed
start
as
this,
builders.
right, start this construction company.
But you never gave up the pan?
No, we never gave up the pan. We used to play in the night still.
Okay.
So from work to playing with
So
him.
when did you come back home?
I came back home 85.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I usually
It comes
come,
first.
I came back 77, 78, 79.
Did you come back around the band? Or you
Yeah.
Okay. So you would come back for what, like panorama time or just
Right, I
whenever
came
you
back
come?
1977, we didn't enter the panorama. Halcyon didn't enter the panorama. But 78 and 79.
Entered.
Right.
And so that means you got a championship here.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Felt good?
before, yes. Before we remember 1975, we won the panorama.
Yes.
76 was Hell's Gate. 77, Halcyon didn't enter. I was here, but we didn't go in. It was who? Either Ebonites. I think that was Ebonites' first win. And we came back 78, 79, back to back.
And you were home for those years. So even though you were away working, you would have been able to keep in touch with the band. And you would have seen the growth of the band over the years. And you have on your shirt today with us today. So basically, we have with us from day one to day just about day 50. How do you feel about your steel band?
Well,
Because it's yours, you know. You were from day one.
yes, I'm feeling real happy for that band, Halcyon. To see that, just as I was said from the beginning, from nothing to something.
Right.
Because it weren't easy. It weren't easy because I was just still a learner.
If you had to do it all over again, would you do it?
Definitely.
What is the one thing today that you want to see Halcyon do or get or keep?
Well,
today?
I would like to see Halcyon get back to the standard way it was, right? Especially when,
Back to Halcyon, yes.
right, especially when Babu took over,
Oh, okay.
right? Right now, Halcyon is down.
It's not where you would like to see.
No, I would like to see it, you know what I mean?
Do you think that perhaps because it's on the edge of the community rather than inside where it normally would be at home, do you think that's one of the factors that's impacting
That
the
maybe,
level of success?
that maybe could have been part of it. But I think that the love for the band has gone from the members.
But most of the members are long-standing members.
Yeah, in a sense.
Right.
But
So could it be that family, you know, they've been
long,
overwhelmed by different responsibilities? Remember, now it's not like in your days when it
right,
was band
okay.
and girls
Yeah.
and maybe one sport. Now it's
And
everything.
right, it becomes you're living then.
Right.
Those who were still there playing, it's their living.
Right.
Right.
Now there's so many things. I'm pondering because
Right.
I'm pondering because I'm going to put you on the spot for want of a better word. Because you're still around. You look good. You walk strong when you came in here. I know we were discussing the future.
Yeah.
If there was one thing that you could do or you think could be done, what do you think that one thing would be?
Well, if I had that time now, I
if you
would.
have the time now, what are you doing now?
No,
You're busy?
that's really busy, but you know, I mean,
Different pace.
things are
Understood,
strange.
right,
Things
yes.
are strange.
But
And
if you had that time now, if you could, what would you do?
I would get back in. I would get back in and try get back to that standard weight world.
You notice when he said he would get back in and get back to that standard.
Serious.
Mr. Kirby, let's be on behalf of everybody, not just Grace Green people, kind of one of them ish, by adoption-ish, kind of circular thing, but the pan fraternity for sure.
Right.
Thank you for persevering, because without your perseverance, we probably wouldn't be able to celebrate 50 with Halcyon.
Thank you for that.
You did well.
Definitely.
You planted a very good foundation for us.
Definitely.
What would be your parting words, to the people of the community and to Halcyon? Tell them what you want to tell them.
Well, I would say to the people of the community, I think our younger generation, the young guys and girls in the community, they need to come out, join the band, get themselves, instead of getting into trouble, whether you join the band or you join the football club or a cricket club, come out and join something and get our community back to that standard that it had, sport-wise, steel band-wise, and the proper discipline that we should have in our community or any community for that reason in Antigua.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Penrod Kirby, the foundation, one of the foundations of the Halcyon Steel Orchestra, which today is on the cusp of 50 years. Again, we thank him for his lifelong service, his sacrifice and commitment, especially during those early years.
Right.
We wish him continued good health and long life in much the same vein as we wish Halcyon Steel Orchestra happy 50 and cheers to at least 50 more. Reasonable?
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Right.